investigators, if I understand correctly, interviewed you regarding parties involved in the so-called kids for cash scandal earlier this year. Is that correct?
Let me clarify exactly what happened. It was about a month after the charges were announced. There were two agents from the Bureau interviewing President Judge Morosky. And there were some questions about court procedures. In fact, it involved the procedures that were used for the appointment of neutral arbitrators. And Judge Morosky, as I understand it, said, well, I really haven't handled that. I think Judge Burke is in his chambers. Perhaps you'd go over and talk to him about that. So the agents came over and they asked what I knew about court procedures regarding that topic. I explained it, and I felt very satisfied when one agent turned to the other when they were leaving and said, that's the best explanation I've heard yet as to how the whole system works. And that was the extent of my interaction with the Bureau.
Thank you for clarifying that. Are you under any ongoing investigation for possible violation of a criminal statute?
No.
I want to go back to something that Terry asked about earlier, and that is your relationship to other judges. Is it unusual to meet in social situations, would you say, among the group? Are you the odd man out, or is it just unusual for the group to get together, for judges to get together to dine, to golf, to watch a football game?
It would be unusual, but it depends on a person's lifestyle. I guess through the prism of my family life, the focal point has always been family activities. And I can't speak for other judges where perhaps they have smaller families or their children are completely grown and gone off, and there just might be more social interaction between particular judges. But I will say my general approach with any endeavor is to try to maintain a professional rapport with my colleagues, and I've endeavored to do that during my 11 years on the bench.
So it kept a kind of low profile private life, it sounds like, but also in your terms on the bench, you've kind of been one of the behind the scenes kind of guys doing all the work. You haven't really had a real lot of high profile cases because you haven't handled that many criminal cases. Do you think that hurts you in any way, that your name has not been out in the news as many times as perhaps some other judges who handle more of the notable cases?
Well, it is a factor, but I wouldn't necessarily say it would be a hurtful factor. You heard me say earlier that my view is urging people to talk to lawyers that they might know. And I realize a lot of average people don't have a lawyer who is their regular lawyer, unless they're in business or something, and talk to people in the community that have had a chance to observe me in my role as a judge and also my role outside. And beyond that, I recognize that judges on the criminal side, and you know that we rotate homicide cases, but that has only picked up steam in the last 2 years. Prior to that, we didn't have nearly as many homicides. And it may be that in due course, some of my cases will be higher profile. Point of fact, I'm scheduled to do a homicide case on October 25th, but it's not a death penalty case. But the judges on the criminal side naturally have cases that involve a little more sensationalism and a little more press coverage. And if I were in the shoes of another judge with that background, I think I would place appropriate emphasis on the competence with which I handled those matters.